Are you a chiropractor with a struggling practice, having a hard time finding and keeping patients? Is your staff falling short of expectations? I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and DC Trainings has the answers that you need. So tune in now and find out how. Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC Trainings. I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and we've got a big day today. We're going to be talking about the next section in the Module 5 series, Module 5 being lifetime care, and today's topic is corrective care completion. So I'm happy to share this with you, and I'm going to frame this in a way that really shows you how to put this sequence into your practice. And essentially what that's going to mean is that when a new patient signs up for care with you and they have a care plan, you're going to divide that care plan up into specific milestones. And those milestones are something that not only you as the doctor or CAs that you can look forward to, but it's something that your patient can look forward to because it's a measurable point in their care plan where they're going to be getting feedback and they're going to have an opportunity to give feedback as well. So these types of sort of two-way communications, getting feedback, giving feedback, are important, not only doctors for you to get feedback from your patients with their results, but it's also important to have these goals in place for your patients. And I'll show you how that works today. We're going into corrective care completion. The next seminar, Goals in Marketing, is on November 5th. So we'll have one more webinar next week that'll conclude Module 5 with the last section. And then we'll have the seminar on Saturday. And I'm really excited because we have some of you who have already RSVP'd. We know you're coming. We have your packets ready for you. For those of you who are going to be attending the seminar live in my office in Santa Cruz, and after the seminar, we're going to go out and have some food and kind of an after party. I call it Next Level DC Training. So please plan on sticking around after the seminar, but we'll start at 10 o'clock. And for those of you who are coming, this is very important. Bring your binder inserts. We mailed them to you. You'll be getting them. If you haven't already got them, you'll get them in the next couple of days. Bring the new inserts for Module 6 that go into your binder, because we'll be working through those together and setting up goals for next year, as well as covering the marketing. So bring your binder inserts with you, as well as your binder when you come to the seminar. Secondly, for those of you who do attend the seminar, I've been telling you about this book, Traction. Great book. I'm actually going to be giving each of you who come to the seminar a copy of this book. So if you're coming to the seminar, that's my gift to you. You're going to have a copy to take home with you of this book, Traction. Phenomenal book. It really covers some of the essentials around team accountability, building an autopilot practice, and plugging that into your goals for your practice to be a viable company or business or chiropractic center, not only now, but in the coming years ahead. So it really is a great book. I'll be sharing some specific sections from that book with you. And for those of you who attend live, that's my gift to you. You'll get a copy to take home with you, and you can actually work on it during the day. So as I said, please know that I'm looking forward to seeing you. Don't forget to bring your binder inserts for that day. Now, on corrective care completion, we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, let me just back up real quickly, because for those of you who aren't going to be attending live, just know we will have the live streaming for you. You can attend virtually from the comfort of your office or your home. And we're going to really spend an amazing day setting up goals for the coming year. And not only goals, I mean, we can throw goals out there all day long, but we're going to set up the action steps to back those goals so that you can see your goals become a reality in 2023. Okay. I know many of you have been already utilizing these steps for setting goals, and you're seeing great results in 2022, as I am, but we're going to take it to the next level, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. So now let's get into our corrective care completion, because this is the part that transitions the patient into supportive or maintenance care. And this is for some doctors, and I don't know if there's anyone on our call who's had trouble with this, but for some doctors, this is kind of challenging because it's the transition, meaning that it's the time where you go from more frequent adjustments into what you view as maintenance care. Now, you can call it maintenance care, supportive care, wellness care, whatever the term you want to use. Think of how often you get adjusted, or think of how often your CAs get adjusted, or better yet, think of how often you adjust your family. And hopefully there's like a wellness structure to that schedule, meaning they're not coming to you and saying, oh, I'm hurting, I need another adjustment, and I haven't had one in 6 months, but more of the, I'm getting adjusted on a regular basis. Oh, maybe I'm having a flare-up, I need an extra adjustment. That's fine. But that regular routine, keep your spine healthy adjustment schedule that you provide for either yourself or for your family, that's really what you want for your patients too, right? I'll use myself as an example. I get adjusted every week, and my wife gets adjusted every week. My kids get adjusted every week. And we've been doing that for many, many, many years, right? Decades now. And that's just our regular schedule. Now, I've found that that schedule fits really well for myself and my family, and we all enjoy that. Why would I recommend anything less for my patients, right? So I'm going to recommend what I enjoy with chiropractic care for my patients. Now, if I'm somebody who gets adjusted once a month and that's my ongoing schedule, totally fine. That's great. But I would recommend that that's what you'll let your patients sign on to as well. So that's why I set this up with the initial corrective care is that more frequent schedule. The supportive or maintenance care is the ongoing schedule after that, which bridges the gap out to 12 months. So we can always set up a 12-month care plan. And I know I'm pointing the finger because I know there's a couple of you on this call right now who have not yet taken this leap of faith in recommending a year of care at a time for your patients. Our motto in DC trainings, for those of you who are new, lifetime care, 1 year at a time. So if you haven't taken that leap yet, hopefully after today, you'll see the benefits, not only for your patients, because it will get them out of the pain-based model of care, but also for your practice to have consistency and reliability and predictability and accountability. If you want those in your practice, this is going to be your tool to do that. So let's go into this in a little more detail, because on the first day of corrective care completion, the CA is going to prepare a corrective care completion prior to the patient's arrival, okay? Or right when the patient walks in, that's done. Now, we like to do it during our production time. I'll be teaching that to you when we get into Module 6 at the seminar, and also in other seminars as well. But production time is an important component of your practice where there's no patients in the office, and you're able to do those back office things that aren't able to be done when there's a bunch of patients coming in. So we do it during production time, and we just pull up a list of all of the upcoming corrective care completion patients for either the following day or following couple days, and my CA just fills out that form. Then when the patient arrives, there's a couple parts which I'll show you, but the patient is going to fill out their part. Now, once they've filled out their part, it's completed, and a either single view x-ray or a new exam is completed. Now, I'll just explain this because some of us like to take a new x-ray to see the structural changes that are happening through the adjustments that we're providing. So if you are in that category, you would then take a new x-ray and adjust the patient, and then they're done for that visit. But if you're somebody who doesn't use x-ray, or maybe doesn't use it as often, or you're not a practitioner who uses repeat x-rays, then you'll want to do a new exam of some kind. You might do a thermal scan, you might do range of motion, you might do palpation. Whatever the exam that you choose to do for your new patients is the same exam that you're going to repeat on this occasion as well. Now, I do want to emphasize that because it should be something that's distinct, different from their ongoing visits or even their previous re-exams, right? This is something that's a distinct transition whereby you're able to let your patient know you've completed your corrective care, and you are now, and I'm going to use these two words carefully, you're graduating to the next level of care, or you are transitioning into wellness care or maintenance care or supportive care. You're transitioning into, or you're graduating from. However you want to say that, make it distinct and really great, like some kind of celebration, like, wow, you've put in the work, you've put in the time, you've put in the extra visits, and now you get to enjoy the results of your efforts with this new schedule. Okay, so I'll keep going with that as we go through this, but I just want to make that point clear, because that graduation into the new schedule should be a distinct turning point in their care. Okay, so they provided the adjustment. Now they're done with that visit, right? They come back for the second appointment, which is where we're going to go over the results. And I know what some of you are thinking or saying right now, and that is that why not do it all in one visit? But there's an element of suspense that we want to keep involved here. We want to have some suspense. We also want to have time to review the results. Like in my case, if I do a new x-ray, I need to review the x-ray carefully before I go over those results and compare it with prior x-rays. So let's assume for a moment that you're taking a new x-ray. Okay, so upon arrival, the reception CA escorts the patient into a private room, checks the patient in with whatever system you use, and sets up the x-rays. Then ask the patient to lay down. Now, if you don't ask them to lay down, what are they going to do? They're going to sit there and stare at those x-rays until the doctor comes in. I like to have the patients laying down. So my staff actually pulls up the x-rays, and then they just simply minimize that on the screen. And then that way it's not looking at the patient's not looking at it. It's just minimized on the screen. And then when I come in, I can pop that up and I can look at it while I'm adjusting the patient. Okay. So the patient lies down, the file's there, but it's minimized or it's hidden, and the form is outside for me to see. So then I come in, and again, this is day 2. The first day was just, we did the exam, we took the x-rays, and we made sure that form was completed. That's it. Day 2 now, the patient brought the form back, they're laying down. I come in, I adjust them, then I have them sit up. And when they're sitting up, now I'm going to go through these steps. I review the condition name and the phase, and I'll demonstrate this for you. I provide self-care exercises. I'm going to review their schedule. And again, I'll explain this in just a moment. And flare-up protocol, okay? And I'm going to reconfirm the Clear 100, escort them back up to the front desk after I've gone through those steps, and convey the results to the reception CA. So I'm letting the front desk know, here's what we just went over. Here's what's going to be happening in the future. And if you could please set that up. And I'm going to repeat the next milestone. I want to let my CA know this is our next big milestone. This is what we're looking forward to. And I'll just say this sort of tongue in cheek, because my CA's heard this 1,000 times, maybe thousands of times, right? With all the new patients that we've had that have come in and reached their corrective care completion. And yet every time I let my CA know and the patient's standing right there, I want to make it sound distinct and special. I guess that's my word of the day today, is distinct. It's a distinct, it's a clear explanation. It's as if I was saying it for the first time to a brand new patient. So get in the practice of making each of those interactions unique and special so that your patient feels appreciated, and they do feel that they are special through how they're being cared for in the office, aside from just the adjustments, but the overall care. So once I repeat the next milestone, then my CA takes over. And this process takes about 5 minutes, maybe less sometimes. It depends. If the patient has questions, it might take longer. If they don't, it'll take less. So I said I was going to go through that flow. Now, let me just show you this image, because this is the corrective care completion script, which is what we're going to jump over to right now. And I'll show that to you through our website, because on the website, that's where I'm going to go through those specific steps that I just talked about. I see some CAs on the call today, many doctors. So across the board, I want to make sure everyone on your team knows how to plug this in, and that it's smooth and consistent. That way your patients feel that you are a well-oiled machine or a well-oiled team for their benefit. Okay, so on the website, in our topic today, we have the materials down here, which I'm going to show you. And we also have the videos. So you can actually see a video of the corrective care completion. That's a full demonstration of the whole sequence. So you can see that. You can also see an intro video that'll show you, sort of to introduce the topic. But here's another thing I want to show you, and we're going to come back to this, but this exercise, daily exercises video. So this is an exercise series that I do literally every morning. I don't actually drink coffee. I'm having some tea this morning, but I don't drink coffee. Why? because every morning when I get up, I do these stretches that you're seeing on your screen. It's literally just a 16-minute video. The stretches actually take 15 minutes. I do it every day, whether I'm going to the office, whether I'm going surfing, whether I'm going to be sitting on the couch. Doesn't matter. I do it every morning first thing. And what's nice is by the end of the video, or by the end of the stretches, excuse me, I'm wide awake. So I don't feel like I really need caffeine to get myself going. But for those of you that enjoy coffee, that's fine. You can do both. But I would recommend that all of us incorporate some kind of a warm up in the morning to where we're stretching our bodies, getting our blood flow going, increasing our heart rate, dilating our blood vessels, and really, getting our metabolism ramped up for what could be a great day, right? So that's why I do these every morning. But the reason why I want to show you that is because one of the materials for the topic this week is the daily exercises. And we have those available for you at dctrainings.com, both in English and in Spanish, right? I have a lot of patients that come in and that I take care of that don't speak enough English to read this document. So we provide it in Spanish, and you can download this again directly from DC Trainings. What I want to show you is something that's new, and that is this QR code. We added this on here, and it's really great because when a patient sees that QR code, what do? They take a picture of it with their phone, and it takes them directly to the video, which is the video I just showed you on the website. So if you print that out, and you could just, I'm not trying to sell myself, although that was a great book by BJ Palmer, Selling Yourself, but I put that there for ease of use. I do think that by and large, most of our patients don't get enough exercise. And unfortunately, that aside from correcting subluxations and specifically adjusting their spine to keep their nervous system functioning, free of nerve interference, and allow them to express their maximum health potential through a fully functioning nervous system and innate potential, aside from that focus within chiropractic, if we can give them just some tidbits of information to help them get their blood moving and get some exercise, and then maybe some dietary things to avoid or to incorporate just to help them from a macro view with their health, I think we're doing a great job with that. Even though, again, my focus as a subluxation-based chiropractor is specifically through spinal adjustments. But as icing on the cake, you can share this video, and it will help patients to get their blood moving. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of patients that will really thank you for this. Again, I'm not trying to sell myself or get you to use my video, but I can just tell you this is already done. It's ready to go for you. It's simply turnkey. You can just let your patients know, I have a good associate doctor, a doctor that I associate with that put together this video. I feel like it's very appropriate to start your day out right in the morning, and you'll see patients come in and literally thank you for doing this. And there's a lot of patients that will actually just turn it on. They'll click that QR code, they'll take a picture of it, and their phone will start playing the video, and they'll do the stretches along with the video. Aside from all that, if you have your own video, then you're welcome to use that too. But this is all ready to go for you. And I think it's a great asset for us to share with our patients. So back to the form. There's that QR code. We have this in English and Spanish, so that's there. Now, going over to the corrective care completion sample, we have both a blank copy and a sample for you, so you can just see how that's filled out. One of the things that I like about the corrective care completion, aside from the transition into wellness care, is that I've added a section here where you can specifically get additional referrals. And I want to just show you this because I wonder if I still have it. I have it right here, but I had just yesterday, well, I guess I already did it. Yesterday, I had two corrective care completion patients who filled it out, and both of them included referrals of people they want me to call and invite in as new patients. And so that's 4 new patients that we got just yesterday. They're actually scheduled now. They weren't scheduled yesterday, but they're now scheduled. 4 new patients in one day just from referrals, just from this one form. So if you're finding that you want to see more new patients, definitely incorporate this form into your practice. Okay, so that's the sample. And again, you can go to the website and you can pull the blank one off the website and incorporate that. Now let's go through this script, because this goes back to the PowerPoint where I was talking about some things I was going to come back to. So This process marks the end of corrective care, usually at a higher frequency of visits, and transitions the patient to supportive or maintenance care, usually less frequent visits. So the patient comes in, the reception CA prepares the x-rays or the exam findings, either way, in a private room. DC explains at the next appointment after the x-ray is taken. So CA says, the doctor will see you shortly. Please lie down to receive your adjustment first. Now let's scroll down and look at the footnotes. Reception CA escorts the patient to a private room and prepares the results, whether it's x-rays or exam, for the DC to explain. Jump back up here. DC enters, provides adjustment, then the patient remains seated while the DC shows the original exam findings, whether it's x-rays or exams, and says, now here's where you're going to use the Socratic style education. Socratic style education means you're going to ask questions so that by virtue of the patient's answers, you know that they understand what you're talking about, right? Their answers to the questions demonstrates they have an understanding and knowledge about this new way of thinking about things, or this different way of thinking about things, right? So that's important. So we're using a Socratic style education. So that's number 2, actually. So number 2, show the single most relevant x-ray from the original series. So what does that mean? That means that when someone comes in to go over a new x-ray, if you do take new x-rays, I don't go over all the x-rays. I literally pick one x-ray, and that's the one I go over. Now, it could be that it's the most advanced subluxation, or it could be the most significant misalignment. Whatever that is, when you review the original x-rays from when the patient came in, pick the one that you feel is most relevant, that you want to measure the change on in an upcoming x-ray. We're going to talk again about this next week when we go over the care plan renewal, and I'll share some ideas with you about how to not leave any of the x-rays out. You're still going to review them. Anyways, I'll get to that next week. But for now, yes, that's called a subluxation. Can you remember what was most visibly wrong on this x-ray? So ask them to tell you what they remember, right? It wasn't that long ago. So they're going to have a good memory. Yes, my neck didn't have a curve and my head was pushed forward. Let's look at number 3. If the patient can't remember, explain the single most obvious abnormality. Now, I want to reference this back to the report of findings module, which was module 3. In the report of findings module, we were talking about how to go over these results in an efficient manner and to not over put too many details into where you're overwhelming a patient and they don't understand any of it. We want to, as I've said before, put this on the lower shelf where everybody can understand it, even somebody who's not a doctor, right? So what does that mean? That means when we went over those 3 things in the report of findings module, when you're looking at an x-ray, it was alignment, it was disc spaces, and it was degeneration. Those 3 things are the high points of what you should be explaining. Now, you can go into a lot more detail than that, but as a starting point, if you start with just those 3 things, obviously, if they're apparent on the x-ray, that's a great starting point. And 90% of your patients are going to be completely satisfied with learning about those 3 areas. So that's why I said, can you remember what was most visibly wrong with this x-ray? Now, 3 says if the patient can't remember, explain the single most obvious. Like you might say, they say, I don't remember what it was. Well, do you remember what this curve is supposed to look like? Or do you remember if your spine is supposed to be really straight right here? Or do you remember if the discs are all supposed to be the same size? Or do you remember that these bones right here that are square are supposed to match all the other bones? And do you see any that are different from that? So you can, if they don't remember, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give them the answer. You might actually ask another question. See, Socrates would be so proud of us. Okay, so that's why it says up here, well, anyways, that's right. So in this case, the patient knew and remembered. So that's right. Here's a new one. What changes do you see? So we then put up the new x-ray or the new exam findings. So let me give you another example. If you're not taking x-rays, let's just say you put up their range of motion findings and you say, when you first came in, when you bent your head to the right, it was very painful and it was limited by 50%. So you'd lost 50% of your ability to bend your head to the side, and it was painful when you did it. Now, do you remember what normal is supposed to be like? See, that's a great way to phrase the question So you're not giving the answer, because what are they going to say? Well, what normal should be like is how I feel now. How I feel now is, I'm going to just stop the share. How I feel now is I can bend my head side to side. I don't have pain anymore. It doesn't sound like sandpaper. And I can actually turn and look over my shoulder when I'm driving. I think that's what normal should be like. That's exactly right. Good job. See, I'm framing this in a way that we can always make this an educational experience, and we can share these changes in a way that allows your patient to understand not only where they are now, but where they're progressing towards, or how to maintain where they're at now and keep it that way. Okay. So we want to frame these questions in that way so that they can track along with us. Next, I said, let's see. Okay, my neck didn't have a curve. My head was pushed forward. That's right. Here's the new one. What changes do you see? Wow, my curve is coming back. That explains why I feel so much better. That's right. I'm happy with your results too. Now, see, I'm giving acknowledgement there from a objective standpoint, because as the doctor, or even a CA who's going over this, if CAs are going over it, then I need to be the authority on the subject, right? So I'm happy with your results too. Now, is there still more room for improvement? What does that say? Number 4, after explaining one area of improvement, ask for at least one area where more can be obtained. So in this case, just to follow the example, if I was saying, remember what this looked like before? Yes, my neck was really straight. That's right. And then look at the new one. What changes do you see? Wow, the curve is so much better. That's right. Now, based on a normal X-ray, is this the maximum change that can happen? Or do you feel like there's still more room for improvement? And the patient says, yeah, I think that could get better. It's curved better, but from what I remember before, it's supposed to be really curved. That's right. Now, again, keeping in mind the Socratic style of education, the asking questions, one of the common, you remember lines of mensuration, right? Your lines that mark the X-rays. One of the measurements that I like to use is called a gravity line, where you drop a gravity line straight down from the anterior aspect of the dens, and it's supposed to go through the body of C7. Well, a lot of times when there's a loss of curve, it goes forward and you miss that, and there's a millimeter number, or a number represented in millimeters, that shows how far off base that is. So ideally, we want that number to be 0. In many cases, even though the curve is coming back, that 0 might have gone from, the 30s or the 40s. Gosh, there's some patients that have it in the 50s, unfortunately. But let's just say it was in the 20s or 30s, and now it's down to 10 or 5. And that would be a perfect time to ask the question. Now, remember this number before. This number normally should be 0. What is yours at now? Well, doctor, I see it's at a 6. That's right. So is there still room for improvement? Yes, there is. See, you can frame this with questions to lead them to a better understanding that, yes, they're better, but there's a reason why we should continue, right? So is there still room for improvement? Yes, it looks like the curve can come back even more. Well, I'm glad you noticed that. It's very important that we continue for even better results. I'm committed, doctor. What's the next step? Well, we can now reduce the frequency of your visits, and I have exercises you can do. They take just a few minutes and will help to keep your spine stable between visits. And that's where the daily exercises come in. Thank you for providing these exercises. I will commit to doing them every day. I appreciate caring for you and look forward to more improvements. We also appreciate your referrals. Remember, that was on the form, and we'll contact them to schedule an appointment. Escort them up to the front desk, confirm the new schedule, frequency of the appointments, and contact the referrals. Now, that's it in a nutshell, right? That's a summary. There was a part on the PowerPoint that I need to elaborate on because we didn't cover it here. And that is 2 things. One, what happens if they have flare-ups? And it kind of ties in with the second issue, which is, what if a patient doesn't want to drop down to a less frequent schedule yet? And this is where you have to gauge the style and flow of your practice, how many CAs you have, how much capacity you have to serve your patients. So I'm just going to use my office as an example, because I have my team who is myself, 3 CAs, and an associate doctor. And so if a patient was coming in, say, 3 times a week, and they're about to drop down to once a week, and they decide, I really don't want to drop down to once a week. I'm loving this. I want to come in twice a week. I have the capacity to say, great, no extra charge. Just come on in for twice a week visits. We'll keep up with your adjustments, and it's not going to change the cost of your care. We'll just be happy to take care of you. That's one scenario. The other scenario is, what if a patient that we just dropped down to once a week calls and says, I'm really hurting today, or I'm fighting a flu. I want to come in and get my immune system boosted. And can you see me today for an extra adjustment beyond the once a week? Well, my take on that would be to take care of them without extra charge, because I have the capacity to do that. And there's a lot of patients that take advantage of that. Plus, I like to cater to that type of more of a membership type of arrangement, kind of like a gym membership that doesn't count your workouts, right? They just say, here it is. You can come as much as you want or as little as you want. That's what the price is. I like to do that because, let me frame this for you. And if you haven't done this yet, this might motivate you. Let's say a patient has a flu. They wake up in the morning, they've got a temperature, they are fighting a bug. And the first thing they think is, I have to take care of this. And because of our education and because they are so committed to being under chiropractic care and maximizing their healing potential through the wonderful adjustments that we provide, instead of running down to the pharmacy for a pill or a drug or a potion, or worse yet, a shot, their first thought is, I want to get adjusted. I want to boost my immune system. That's the first thought. Now, if they the next thought after that is, well, wait a minute, that's going to cost me an extra $50, or I could just go pick up a $5 bottle of aspirin. What are they going to do, right? So we want to promote this membership environment for our patients where they can rely on us, even in times of need, to provide the best healthcare service on the planet, and they have immediate access to it. So hopefully that kind of helps to encourage you, if you don't already have this set up, to make it more of a welcoming membership type of arrangement, because you will see, not only will you see your practice grow because patients will utilize it, you'll be able to serve more people, you'll have more healthy people in your community, and as I've said in the seminars, every dollar that our patients spend with us is one less dollar they're spending on pharmaceutical drugs. So that's a much better place and wiser use of their money. Isn't this fun? I love this. It's great. I mean, I had such a great day in practice yesterday. We hit our goals for the day. We actually surpassed our revenue goal. And it was just such a great day that it's fun to have that day in practice and then be able to come and share that with you. And I'd love to hear from you too. I mean, you're welcome to raise your hand. I'll open up your line. I'll answer your questions. There was actually a question that came in, and it was about hiring a new CA. Oh, okay. Yeah, this was an emailed question that came in. One of the doctors with one of our members was saying he was having a hard time with a CA who wasn't really grasping the whole accountability and the goals tracking system. So I thought I would share my response to him because he was really happy about it, and I figured you would be too. If you have a CA who's struggling with the goals tracking system or struggling with producing results in a certain area of your practice, maybe you have a CA that's in charge of new patients and your new patient numbers are down. You might have a CA that's in charge of patient visits and your patient visit numbers are down, and you'd like them to get some coaching, just have them sign on to the webinar. And they can come on the webinar. You don't have to be embarrassed or, try to hide or anything. Come on the webinar. I'll be happy to answer those questions. I'll be happy to help with those tools that we have available on DC trainings to make sure that we provide the information that you need so that you and your whole team has access to all the tools needed to run a successful practice. So anyways, so he was really happy about that. So I thought I would share that with you. But I wanted to show you this here because on the success rate side, this is our success rates for my own practice. I'm happy to share them with you. I never share any of yours, but I do watch them. So if you have questions about the success rates in your practice or how to assign focuses to CAs, again, please let me know and I'll be happy to help with that. But here's our numbers. Now we are in the fourth quarter of the year. So, and I have high standards for these numbers. I have a great team. We set high goals. They're attainable, but they're also a stretch. They're not by any means easy to reach. We work hard for it. So as a result of that, if we, for a moment, leave out care plan renewals, which we're in the 96% here, that's fine. It should be above 90, and leave out report of findings, that's 85%. Well, that leaves new patients. We're at 104%. Now, that deserves recognition and celebration, right? It's above 100%. That one, we have been meeting and talking about how great it's been. Oops, I'm bouncing around here, sorry. But how great it's been to enjoy that higher success rate, that 104% success rate. The jumping down to patient visits, we're at 93%. Now, I have, and again, full disclosure, again, my practice, I'm in practice full-time just like you, so I have the same challenges, the same speed bumps, but I have a CA who's having some challenges with this right now. And because of that, we've been meeting, and there's some question as to whether this particular individual is going to be able to fulfill the responsibilities that are needed for that focus. Wow, right? That's a big deal. So again, back to what we're going to talk about at the seminar. I hope to see you there, because this book, Traction, has some amazing steps to correct that, okay? And to make sure that you're hitting your numbers all the time with everyone on your team. So anyways, we're working on that. Now, the 96% here for revenue, that I actually feel like we're going to hit that. I know it's down a little bit, but it's really attainable, and we have some great action steps in place right now to reach that. So even though it's at 96%, I think we're going to come in for a strong finish, and we're going to hit the 100% like we want to. So I'm just sharing that with you because, again, my goal is to see you have the practice of your dreams and to hit all your goals. Okay, so one more webinar before the seminar. So next Thursday, we'll wrap up with week 8 of module 5. And then immediately 2 days later, we jump right into our seminar. I look forward to seeing you here. Definitely want to see you in my office. If at all possible, come join me for a great day. And if not, join us virtually. The link will be on the website, and you'll just log right in through that link, and you can join the seminar that way too. As always, stay in love with chiropractic, and I will talk to you next week.
If you would like to become a member of DC Trainings, be sure to head on over to dctrainings.com to get started today.